you chooks going to lay? Eh?
That's a question that lots of people ask. When can I expect my chickens to start laying? Well, the answer is when they're ready. And the long answer is, well, it depends. What does it depend on?
In my case, I have a mix of older hens and a couple of young pullets. But for the moment, let's just think about the young pullets. When should we expect to start getting eggs from our young hens? Obviously, you don't expect eggs from baby chicks. But once they start to feather up and mature and look like hens, we start to look forward to getting some eggs. The age at which a pullet lays her first egg varies from as early as 4 months up to 8 or 10 months old or even older. What makes the difference? One thing is their breed. If you have some of the commercial hybrids, those plain looking brown chickens, they will come into lay at a younger age than any of the heritage breeds because they're genetically programmed, selected and bred since the 1940s for no other purpose than to lay eggs. Lots of eggs, preferably brown in most countries, starting as early as possible and to lay flat out for about a year. So a highline pullet will probably start laying at around 4 months old. At the other extreme, the heavy heritage breeds like the Wyandottes, Orpingtons and light Sussex were originally bred for the table and they aren't such good layers. They tend not to come into lay until they are 8 or 10 months old. Amongst the heritage breeds, the light ones like the Leghorns often start laying around 5 or 6 months of age. Right up until the 1970s, the commercial hybrids were not allowed to be imported into New Zealand, and the Leghorns were the mainstay of egg production here. They're the best layers of all the purebreds. But remember, these are typical examples based on the traditional breed characteristics. Many of the purebred chickens these days are bred for the show bench, and in some cases their egg production abilities have been neglected as the breeder has concentrated on just the right body shape or comb or colour or pattern. So some traditionally good laying breeds, like the Leghorns, might not come into lay early at all. Another factor is what time of year it is when the chicken reaches sexual maturity. If she was hatched in high summer, then it will be late autumn or winter when she gets to be old enough to lay, and she's not going to start laying when the days are short and the nights are long. By the time the days lengthen and she comes into lay, she'll be 2 or 3 months older than you predicted. On the other hand, chickens hatched in early spring are more likely to be ready to start laying in late summer. And if they do start laying then, they will often lay all through the winter. I usually try to time my hatching so I get some young pullets laying through the autumn and winter when the older hens are molting and taking a break. Although it can be tricky to get the timing just right for the breed as well as the time of year. Of course, even if she is the right age and it's the right time of year, she's not going to lay well unless she has good food with plenty of protein to make those protein-rich eggs. In fact, that's one reason we humans domesticated the chicken at all. We started out keeping them around for cockfighting, but we discovered that they have a genetic quirk that means if they are fed a high-protein diet, they don't just lay one clutch of eggs and then stop. They can be induced to keep on laying more and more eggs than a wild bird would possibly brood in one season. So the quality of the food she eats is important. In fact, that's true not just when she's at point of lay, but all the way through from hatching, and in fact, even back to the nutrition of the parent birds. Plus, of course, she needs a plentiful and constant supply of fresh, clean water. An egg is about 75% water, so make sure their water bowl is always appealing and the chickens are drinking plenty. Even one day without drinking enough will affect egg production. So how will you know when they are ready to lay? One thing to look for is the colour of their comb It will be very red when she's ready to lay or laying. It will also be bigger, probably, than what it was before. Now, that doesn't necessarily mean that the hen with the largest comb is the one who's closest to laying. The comparison needs to be made between what her comb looked like before she came into lay. It will probably get bigger than it was, but the ultimate size of the comb depends on her and her breed. The other thing to look for is the width between her pelvic bones. The pelvic bones spread apart when she's coming into lay to make room for the egg to come out. It's easiest to do this at night when they're up on their perch and you can pick them up easily. But you can just see here that this hen, this is Goodness, has got plenty of room, probably enough for 3 fingers to fit between the 2 pointy pelvic bones that you can feel underneath her tail. On the other hand, Liza only has about 1 finger's width. Although her comb is nice and bright red, she really isn't quite ready to lay yet. She's just going to hang around for a bit longer and wait. And this young pullet is Camzo. She's got a nice bright red comb and she's already starting to spread her pelvic bones just a little bit. So it won't be long for Camzo. The other thing you're likely to notice is the habit of squatting when the hen is approached from above and behind. This is the direction that the rooster would come from when he's ready to mount her. And if she's feeling sexually mature and ready to start laying eggs, then she's likely to squat into the position ready to take the weight of the rooster. If she's doing this for you when you come and walk up behind her, then that's a good sign that she's really getting ready to lay. And once they get going, the long wait is over and you can enjoy getting fresh eggs every day.